Today we're plunging headfirst into a dark, incredibly atmospheric tale of vengeance, betrayal, and absolute rebirth. If you're the kind of person who appreciates a story where the shadows actually have teeth and where justice is served ice cold, you are in for a serious treat. We're breaking down the harrowing, beautifully terrifying narrative of the Mute King and the Phoenix Reborn. So settle in, let the temperature in the room drop a few degrees, and let's explore exactly how a betrayed girl transforms into an unstoppable force alongside a ruler that, frankly, everyone entirely underestimated.
Nora, apologize to Lily, or I will refuse this alliance and leave you with nothing. Just let the sinister edge of that ultimatum sink in for a second. Imagine the immediate visceral scene here. The cold silver of a gift box has literally just sliced into Nora's chin. She doesn't even feel the pain at first, just the warmth of her own blood staining this pristine white dress she's wearing. She looks up into the eyes of Liam, the man she's protected and loved since childhood, and instead of any warmth, she finds an absolute void of pure hatred. His voice echoes through the banquet hall like a death sentence, and the cruel laughter of the crowd around them sounds like the sharpening of knives.
Section 1. A bloody betrayal.
Now, what's really wild is how the insult of Liam's choice is framed. He's standing there with his arm wrapped around Lily. She's an Omega. And she's described vividly as smelling of wet dirt and deceit. I mean, for Nora, this isn't just a broken heart. It is a profound insult to her very lineage and loyalty. Liam is standing there smugly dismissing her as a link-blind brat who just relies on her parents, completely oblivious to who he's actually dealing with. He really thinks he's discarding a weak, desperate girl. But wow, he couldn't be more wrong.
Because this is where we get the ultimate contrast between victimhood and tactical rebirth. Think about it. If you could live your life over, knowing exactly who was going to betray you, what would you change? In her past life, Nora was that desperate girl begging for love. She chose Liam without a second thought, and her reward was dying in a pool of her own blood while Liam and Lily literally laughed over her corpse. But not this time. Actually, scratch that. She's not just surviving this time. She is a reborn phoenix who has already felt the fire. She isn't playing the victim. She's already made a move Liam cannot possibly wrap his head around. She has signed her soul over to a monster.
Moving on to Section 2, The Phoenix Reborn.
During the ceremony of heirs, Nora pulls off this absolutely shocking pivot. That morning, her parents had laid out photos of every alpha heir for her to choose a political mate. But instead of Liam, she just bypasses all the obvious choices and reaches for the most shadowed photo in the entire pile, Kale, or Kyle as he's known, the feared cripple king of the Black Iron Pack. And the rumors about this guy are absolutely chilling. They say his wolf is dead and his voice was poisoned away, leaving him trapped in a permanent, terrifying silence. So, by whispering, "I choose him," Nora strikes fear even into her own father's eyes. She is fully embracing the darkness to fight the darkness.
Picture this. Liam is standing there in the hall, smugly mocking Nora, telling her absolutely no one wants her. But he doesn't notice the entire atmosphere shifting. The shadows at the very edges of the room literally start to bleed inward. The ambient light begins to fail. And then comes a sound. A rhythmic, heavy, mechanical sound. It's the turning of wheelchair wheels, slowly and methodically approaching the heavy oak doors of the hall.
Section 3. Enter the Mute King.
Those doors don't just open, they exhale inward, almost as if the building itself is terrified of what's sitting on the other side. This freezing mist rolls right across the floor, carrying the heavy scent of frost and ancient graves. And there's Silas, Kyle, being wheeled into the room. He's dressed in funeral black. His skin is pale as moonlight on a tombstone, and his eyes are just two pits of crystal-clear void that seem to drink the light straight out of the chandeliers. The room goes dead silent. So it really makes you ask, who is the real monster here? Liam's mother foolishly steps up, her voice shaking as she tries to project some kind of authority. She sneers at them, calling them a blind girl and a mute cripple, waving around this humiliating video of Nora being forced to kneel the night before. She actually thinks she's the predator in this room. She is completely oblivious to the lethal danger sitting right in front of her.
And here is where the dramatic irony hits its peak. You know, the ultimate strategic advantage is making your enemy believe you're completely weak. The rumor says Kyle is a harmless cripple with a dead wolf, but the reality? Far more terrifying. As Liam's mother is hurling all these insults, Kyle isn't even looking at her face. He is staring at the air right around her neck, calculating with absolute surgical precision exactly where to begin his first stitch.
The whole cripple label was literally just a lie he used to hide his true power until this exact, perfect moment. The moment of the harvest. Kyle reaches out a skeletal hand and gently touches Nora's wrist. Immediately, this massive surge of ice-cold power floods her veins, completely shattering the suppression spells Liam had forced onto her bloodline. Her inner white wolf lets out this triumphant howl, and then, through their mind link, Nora finally hears the Mute King's voice. It's this deep, resonant vibration that feels like a literal mountain is shifting beneath her feet. "They took your voice with their lies," he whispers into her soul. "So I shall take theirs."
Section 4. The Frostwolf Unleashed.
Okay, Kyle opens a small, ornate leather case resting on his lap. Inside is a single, incredibly long needle crafted entirely from stardust and bone. And what follows is a brutal, procedural execution of vengeance. First, his shadow guards. These are literal shadows given physical, terrifying form, slam Liam into the floor with the force of a falling star. Then, that bone needle begins to glow with a sickly, arrogant red light. But it doesn't weave normal thread, no. It weaves the very essence of their souls. The needle dances through the air, pulled by some unseen hand, extracting every single lie Liam ever told right out of his mouth in the form of a gray, necrotic mist.
The fallout in that banquet hall is nothing short of absolute devastation. Liam's mother has to stand there and watch her precious, humiliating video burst into black flames right before invisible threads brutally tighten around her own lips. Liam's father tries to jump in, but just the sheer pressure of Kyle's presence forces him to his knees so hard his joints actually pop. And Lily, the so-called fake phoenix, she starts to shrivel. Deep wrinkles just cover her face in seconds as the stolen phoenix blood is forcefully sucked back into the void. One by one, the betrayers fall completely silent. Their mouths are moving in these frantic, desperate circles, but the only sound coming out is that horrifying noise of wet dirt and decay.
Section 5. A New Silent World.
So, with the harvest finally complete, the true nature of the Mute King is laid bare for everyone left in that room. Kyle turns his wheelchair toward Nora and smiles, but it's not a warm smile. It's the smile of an apex predator who has finally found his equal. And then, the cripple stands. He is a true alpha of the royal bloodline, a Frostwolf whose very touch could freeze the heart of a god. He takes this magnificent coat made entirely of white lily petals and shadows and drapes it over Nora's shoulders. And together, they simply step right over the crumpled, silenced forms of the very people who once thought Nora was nothing but a slave.
As they walk out of that banquet hall, Nora doesn't even look back. Liam is just left there in the mud, helplessly clutching a wolf-tooth ring that means absolutely nothing now. Trapped in a terrifying, unbreakable silence that's going to last for 100 years. Nora realizes her ultimate truth right then. I was no longer the girl who waited for the moon. I was the Grand Luna of the Black Iron. It's a hauntingly beautiful, just utterly definitive conclusion. Dark justice served with absolute finality. And you know, it really leaves you wondering. In a world where words can so easily be wielded as weapons, what happens when the shadows finally decide to silence the liars? Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive.